Hi, Paris. So you picked a reggae layout. That's cool. I would have picked the same one. Just being honest. All right, let's go ahead and jump over. Yeah, I'm glad you picked this. I definitely would have picked it. It's a fascinating composition. I love it. I said that last week. At first I liked that. I was really attracted to the popsicles, but then I saw this, and the more I looked at this, I was like, this is just really a gorgeous little composition. I love it. Okay, as far as the composition itself goes, and there's one thing that I had recommended last week, and that is just creating a little bit of variety, and that can be easily done by varying. We've got two of these triangles, but they're the exact same size. Try to take this one, increase it a little bit, okay? And then as far as the trees go, the palm trees, try making one a little bit larger. Not much, just that little variety in scale is going to create an enormous amount of visual interest. Try it. You'll see what I'm saying. I think you'll like it. My other recommendation on the composition itself, in terms of form, is to use a radial gradient on this sphere in the background and not this linear gradient. This linear gradient is, boy, it's kind of hard to tell. If this is a radial gradient, it's really super subtle. It's not really showing much volume in the gradation. So it's hard to tell if this is a linear gradient, but I think it is. So I would transpose that to a radial gradient, and I think that's really going to bring out a wonderful volume and add an enormous amount of depth through that volume, and I think that's going to be fascinating, really kind of drawing the foreground with the background to create a really neat visual relationship between the two. So, okay. Now, as far as your typographic compositions go, I think this is the best. And the reason I think this is the best one is because it's got the best alignment. So in other words, we've got this on an angle here. This has got this has got okay alignment, but I think there's just too much emphasis on Reggae Night, and it's taking some of the visual emphasis away from the background. So I think this one has a really, really nice, unique symbiotic relationship between the type and the background. And again, this one on the diagonal, I'm just not feeling that kind of movement because I think there's plenty of movement in the background composition. So that leaves us with this. Now, one recommendation I would say here is this. Now, this could be a JPEG rendering. So I'm not saying you did this, but if you did, this type looks a little bit distorted, okay? It looks like it's been vertically stretched without constraining the horizontal proportions or not maintaining the aspect ratio of the original composed type. So if you did that, if you resize that, the way that to circumvent that is resizing, just make sure you select that text section. And if you want to resize it, go ahead and hold your shift key down. Or you can do the transform command, or you can just recompose the type in the size that you want. But if you're resizing type at all, ever, always maintain that aspect ratio of the original type. You don't want to distort type, okay? What I would recommend here is that you've got sans serif here and a sans serif here. I think this would look beautiful if you were to use you've got a serif here and a serif typeface here. Use a sans serif here. Maybe something like that, but not quite so bold. So we don't want to create so much visual attention, but something maybe a semi-bold. And so a sans serif here. This is nicely aligned. You watch your alignment. This type selection right here. It's left aligned, but we really want to align it with either the beginning of the G or the beginning of the H. Right now, it kind of looks like it's in between the two. So just come down, draw a guide right where the beginning of that G starts, and then pull that and align it, and it'll work like magic right now. Plus, if you take a look, maybe even go to the I, because right now the word before is off the edge of the page, and you don't want to do that with type. You don't want to break the picture plane with type unless it's really super intentional. But that looks like a mistake. And then over here, this, I agree with you not pulling this and aligning it with the R. I think aligning it with the E is great. Right now, it's not quite in alignment with the E, so you definitely want align that with E. All right, those are my recommendations. Beautiful work, really nice work. One other thing is when you increase the size of this triangle right here, take this whole type section here, just move it down just a little bit in the composition so we have a little bit more even distribution of the formal elements associated with the composition in terms of typography and the visual attributes. All right, fantastic work. Any questions at all? Let me know. Thank you, Paris.